Hello, 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 and welcome to Comedian Leaves Oxford Union Speechless. Let's see who's this from. We gotta give credit to people where credit is due, right? From Triggernometry, 2 days ago, 2 million views. Not a lot of likes. But hey, let's take a look. Let's see. I think the clip showed said show this to a woke person. I thought they'd probably consider me a woke person, so I'll take a look. And I'll kid you not, I couldn't tell this guy was a comedian. So let's take a look. I already watched this and it's gonna be pain to go through this again. Oh my God.
You will not know this, but I was supposed to be the first non-student speaker for the proposition. I've now been the fourth, which means that I now have to thank all the previous speakers for making my best points for me. And I find that the main reason now that I have left to be in support.
So I heard a laugh there, so I'm not sure. Listen, I'm not a stand-up comic. I'm not a comedian. I think that was supposed to be a joke. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that was supposed to be a joke. So first joke doesn't land, leaves crowd speechless. So let's keep going.
Of the motion is that I am so tired of talking about woke culture. That's why it's gone too far, more than anything else. And I thank the other speakers.
Okay, once again, I gotta stop. The people who talk about woke culture the most are right-wing people. Let's be real. Nobody on the left describes it as woke. I mean, they might. Okay, I can't say that. People will say woke, but no one harps on woke culture as much as right-wing people. Just from what I've done, and I'm a left-wing person who literally goes out and tries to watch left-wing content, and I don't see that much about woke culture. So if you want to stop talking about woke culture, just stop talking about woke culture. You won't have to hear about it because you're not going to be around those people and you don't care anyways.
For making the points for me, because it means I don't have to reiterate the point that no, free speech is not some right-wing reframing of whatever. It's the foundation of West.
What's that even mean?
Speech is not some right-wing reframing of whatever. It's the foundation.
Listen, dude, I know, like, you know, like, states' rights is, like, a left-wing framing of, like, whatever. Like, what are you even... I don't even know what I was trying to say there. What were you trying to say there? You don't even know what you were trying to say there. This is ridiculous. This guy got invited to speak at Oxford.
Of Western civilization. Upon this civilization is built, and the Enlightenment values that led to it. I don't have to make the point.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's no such thing as freedom of speech in the UK. Don't think there's ever been such thing as freedom of speech in the UK. That's a pretty... I'd probably not start in the US now that I'm thinking about it. I think I've heard about it started somewhere else first. But I don't think there's freedom of speech in the UK. So, you're talking to the wrong crowd.
Point that has been made by far better people in the past, that the only way to deal with the problem of racism is to treat people on the content of their character and nothing else. And
colorblind doesn't work. It's not a real thing. You can't be colorblind. Then you're ignoring people's actual lived experiences because you're trying to pretend like everyone else lives like you, or like you, as you're colorblind, and you never judge the person by the color of their skin. But let's be real. Like, it doesn't. That's no one. It doesn't help anybody.
And the fact that woke culture seeks to overturn that is a new form of racism that we must all.
What is woke culture? And how does it try to overturn freedom of speech? In fact, it's trying to add more freedom of speech, considering the fact that you have people being able to transition genders. You have, if you want to go so far as xenogenders, you have multiple sexualities instead of only being heterosexual. So how is, I mean, I guess that's freedom of expression and not freedom of speech. But it's a little odd because you're kind of conflicting there.
All oppose.
Oh, you'll
It
see
means
what I'm
also
talking about
I will not use this opportunity to say I told you so, as someone who spent the last 5 years warning people in the West that if we continue to erode our culture, if we continue to...
What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Erode our culture? What do you mean erode our culture? What erosion? The 90s, like... So let's see, the sex craze 60s, the sex craze 70s, the sex craze 80s, the sex craze 90s, the sex craze thousands, the sex craze 10,000s, the sex craze 20s. Like, are we being real here? Moral depravity has always been a part of Western culture. It's every time you get a lot of money, the thing is you become debaucherous. You have parties where you have a lot of sex and shit. Like, I mean, listen. We've all read and watched The Great Gatsby. Rich people are the most morally depraved because they have the opportunity to be. Poor people can't be morally depraved because they don't have time to be, because they have to go to work and make money so they can pay their bills.
to undermine our confidence in Western values, that our enemies like Vladimir Putin will seek to capitalize on it. I will not make any of those points tonight, at all. Instead, I am not going to talk to those of you who already agree with me, which I imagine is most of you. I'm not going to talk to you because I imagine after everything you've heard tonight, you're going to vote for the proposition. I'm going to confess I will take your vote for granted. Tonight, I am the Labour Party and you are the Red Wall. Now, I want to talk to those of you who are woke and who are open to rational argument. A small minority, I accept.
He's gonna go on to deny climate change. And he's talking about rational thought. Just spoiler alert.
Because one of the tenets of wokeness is, of course, that your feelings matter more than the truth. But I believe in you. I believe there are those of you here who are woke, who are open to rational argument, so let me make one. We are told that your generation cares more than any other about one issue in particular, and that issue is climate change.
I just had an idea. Sorry. Just a thought.
We're told that many of you suffer from climate anxiety. You wish to save the planet. And for tonight, and tonight only, I will join you. I will join you.
Alright, I'm gonna start this over. We're gonna start from the beginning, because I think they'll use that to hit me. I'll leave in the first preamble. I'll cut. We'll see. We'll just cut out the bits where that's showing. Where were we?
Told you so. As someone who spent the last
Okay,
I'll not make any of those points tonight. At all. I'm not going to talk to you because I imagine after everything you've heard tonight, you're going to vote for the proposition. I'm going to confess I will take your vote for granted. Now, I want to talk to those of you who are woke and who are open to rational argument. A small minority, I accept.
Okay, so...
Because one of the tenets of wokeness is, of course, that your feelings matter more than the truth. But I believe in you. I believe there are those of you here who are woke, who are open to rational argument, so let me make one. We are told that your generation cares more than any other about one issue in particular, and that issue is climate change. We're told that many of you suffer from climate anxiety. You wish to...
Correct me if I'm wrong, body language experts out there, but guy in the back looked like he was very confused. Did he not? Like, he was like, wait, climate? What? I've never heard that.
Save the planet. And for tonight, and tonight only, I will join you. I will join you in worshipping at the feet of Saint Greta of climate change.
Yes, let's make fun of the young, believe, autistic child. I mean, I think she's technically an adult now, but, yeah, okay.
Let us all accept right here, right now, that we are living through a climate emergency and our stocks of polar bears are running extremely low. I join...
So I think that was a joke. Notice crowd speechless. Crowd speechless. That's not a bad thing. They're just speechless.
You in this view. I truly do. Now, what are we to do about this huge problem facing humanity? What can we in Britain do? We can only do one thing. You know why? This country is responsible for 2% of global carbon emissions. To sink into the sea right now, it would make absolutely no difference to the issue of climate change.
Okay, let me switch back to this. But, what would I do?
You know why? It would make... Which means that this country is responsible for 2% of global carbon emissions. Which means...
So, I was looking up, and they're technically true. Per capita, they're pretty high up in the ranking of the world in carbon emissions and whatnot, pollution and whatnot. Dumping the UK into the ocean would not result in a net 2% drop in global emissions. I'm just gonna go out on a bet and say that's true. Just willing to bet that.
If Britain was to sink into the sea,
you know,
right
considering
now,
that they make trades with a lot of countries that also have high emissions, they're allied with a lot of countries that also have high emissions.
Because the future of the climate is going to be decided in Asia and in Latin America by poor people
I don't think
who couldn't give a shit about saving the planet. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Wait.
Why
can't he ask a
no, thank
question?
You.
Why can't he ask
no,
a question, my guy? Just one question.
No, thank you.
Just one question.
No, thank you.
Oh, but why?
It's going to be decided by poor people in Asia and Latin America who don't care about saving
What, you don't
the
want
planet.
to answer a single question?
You know why? Because they're poor. Because they're poor. I come from Russia, which is not a poor country, it's a middle-income country.
Let me just... That is the dumbest fucking argument I have ever goddamn heard. They don't give a shit because they're poor. So, because they have more pressing worries, such as dying in the immediate, starving, not having water, not having food, not having shelter, because they're worried about that. they're not worried about the world ending down the road. So we shouldn't give a shit about the world ending down the road. Is that your argument? I'm sorry, let's keep going. Maybe
20% of households in Russia do not have an indoor toilet.
Okay.
What they have is an outdoor toilet.
Okay.
And I don't mean one of those nice portaloos. They have households in Russia do not have an indoor toilet.
Okay. Wait a minute. Maybe he has a point.
What they have is an outdoor toilet.
Okay. I thought maybe they dug a ditch, but it seems they have an outdoor toilet.
And I don't mean one of those nice portaloos that we get here. I don't even mean a Glastonbury portaloo.
Can't even speak English. Like... Okay, you know, those last two were jokes.
I mean a wooden shack with a hole in the ground that holds a collected fermented memory of the last 10,000 visits.
Because he's not making me laugh.
How many of you
what do you say?
have fermented memory of the last 10,000 visits?
Oh, okay.
How many of you are going to go home tonight and say, let's rip out our bathroom and erect a Siberian shithouse in the back garden?
What does that have to do with climate change?
And if you're not, why should they?
The bathrooms are already... I'm sorry, I thought he had a point.
120 million people in China do not have enough food.
So 120 million people in China do not have food. 42 million people in America face hunger each and every day. 9.7 million adults experience food insecurity in September 2022 in the UK. How big is the UK? So, population of the UK. Population 67. 9 divided by 67. What do we got? So 13%. So 120 million people in China. Population of China. $120 million to 1.4 billion, as opposed to 9 million out of how much again was that? Population of the UK? 67. Ha, yeah, you know, he's won me over. He's won me over. I think he's right. I think he's got it. I'm pretty sure he wins this argument. I'm sorry. Guys, woke culture has lost the battle on this one. It's a sad day. It's rough. I want to apologize to Vosh and Hassan and ContraPoints and Shark Zero and all these people that I've let down by letting this video out. But not, well, you know, 24 million views before I got here, but This is my fault. I apologize.
I don't mean that they don't get dessert. I mean they suffer from malnutrition. That means that their immune system is breaking down because they don't have enough food. You're not going to get them to stay poor. Imagine you're Xi Jinping, the leader of China.
Are you going to get the people in the UK to stay poor? Because they're kind of poor too, and they're polluting the atmosphere, so I don't understand the argument. I'm still confused. I'm still lost. Maybe this point will come together at some point.
When you were 10 years old, there was a revolution, a cultural revolution in your country, and people came and they put your father in prison. Your mother had to denounce him. Your sister killed herself. And you, no longer enjoying the protection of your formerly powerful father, were sent to a village where you lived in a cave house. And
is that true? Because that's fucked up. I can understand not wanting to be called Winnie the Pooh. But I'm still going to call him Winnie the Pooh.
And here you are, decades later. You have clawed your way up the bloody and greasy pole of Chinese politics to be the undisputed super...
As opposed to the clean and the squeaky clean pole of UK politics and the squeaky clean pole of US politics and the squeaky clean pole of all of Western politics.
Supreme leader.
No blood there. No grease there. No oil. No... None of that.
Of the very Communist Party that destroyed your family. And you know that the main thing you have to do to survive and to stay in power is to deliver the one thing that the people of China want: prosperity, economic growth. Where do you think climate change ranks on Xi Jinping's list of priorities?
Not very high, but I don't think we should be setting our standards by a dictator. Really don't. And you know, we can deal with what we can deal with right now, and then try to get things done with China later on. Maybe?
A third of all children who live in extreme poverty in the world live in India.
They have a very large population. Should we look it up, folks? I'm not gonna show it for you, but I'm gonna look it up. Population of... Come on. 1.4 billion. They have like a seventh of the population of the world. How big population of the world? Yeah, they have like a seventh of the population of the world. They were kept in poverty by who was it? Who crap. I'm forgetting. I'm totally blanking on what country it was that subjugated
That means
India
they are starving and dying of preventable disease.
And then kind of smashed them down.
About
into
15 months
poverty
ago, my wife got
and,
pregnant.
took all
Not
their
me,
resources
because we're old school.
and kind of tried to shatter the culture. Oh wait, oops, I'm sorry. Here we go. But yeah, it's kind of weird how his world works, because every country is in its own bubble but somehow also interacts with each other. So I'm really does he like turn off as he travels in between countries, as he's like shifting between multiverses or something? Because I'm confused as to how he thinks world things happen, you know? Oh yeah, let's go back.
months ago, my wife got pregnant. Not me, because we're old school.
What's the joke? My friend, if we were old school, she should leave over, right? To his right, she should leave, the other lady should leave, the lady back there should definitely leave as well. Ooh, the lady on the right, she should leave. Him in the back, he should definitely leave. If we're gonna be old school, like, let's get old school, right? Because we're talking about old school. And if we're gonna talk about the old school where it's like, oh, it's a man and a woman old school, we're also talking about racism old school. So how, like, where do we go old school and where don't we go old school? Because I'm confused. I'm very confused. Notice some people didn't realize they were supposed to laugh. Case in point, what do they call them? British African. My man in the back had to look at the other dude and be like, wait, that's a joke? I'm sure he doesn't like hearing old school, especially in Britain, in the UK. Like, I think just a little bit ago, they were still quite racist. I mean, I know they got rid of slavery and all, but just because you get rid of slavery doesn't mean you're not racist. It just means you're not the most racist.
And for 9 months, we talked about what our boy would look like, what he might do when he grows up. We looked at baby scans and videos on YouTube about what the fetus looks like at 9 months and 12 months and 20 months. And eventually he was born. And he is this cute little bundle of joy. He's cuter than about 80% of puppies, right? Now,
okay, I think he tried to say another joke there. Comedy joke. Let me try to explain it. The setup is that he has a cute baby. The punchline is that puppies are also cute, but his baby is cuter. Is that? No, 80% of puppies. So there's still 20% of puppies that are cuter than his baby. So I guess that's the joke, that he thinks 20% of puppies are cuter than his baby. But then he's also about to explain what he's about to explain.
Now, if you said to me that I had a choice, either my son had a serious risk of starving or dying from a preventable disease in the next year, or I could press a button and he would live. He would go to school. He would bring his first girlfriend home. He'd go to university and graduate and become a woke idiot.
Haha, joke. Haha, haha. So, if you go to school, you will become a woke idiot. Just like everyone here who I said earlier were not woke idiots. But if you're graduating from school, you'll become a woke idiot. But you guys here aren't woke idiots who are at this school. This guy's a comedian?
And then he'd get a job and get married and have children and become a man. But all I have to do is press this button. And for every day of my son's life, a giant plume of CO2 is going to get released into the atmosphere. Now, you're all very young, and most of you are not parents. Let me tell you something. There is not a parent in the world who would not smash that button so hard their hand bled.
I really hope my parents wouldn't, because I don't want to die in a hellscape of dehydration and natural disasters. they kind of already did that, and most of us aren't even gonna get what he explained. So notice a man in the middle staring straight in the camera, hand over mouth, like, yeah, but I don't want to die. And people have to clap because parents love their children. So clap.
You are not going to get these people to stay poor. You're not even going to get them to not want to be richer. And so, I put it to you, ladies and gentlemen, there is only one thing we can do in this country to stop climate change. And that is to make scientific and technological breakthroughs that will create the clean energy that is not only clean, but also cheap.
What? What did he even... What was the speech? What did he say? I'm still confused. This is the second time I've watched this. And the first time I was confused, and I thought maybe the second time I go through this, I'll finally understand what he's trying to explain to me. What he's trying to explain to these people in this room. Because I don't think they even get it. I think they're politely laughing. Because they're speechless. They only laugh at, like, cultural signifiers they agree with. Notice, you know? Jesus.
And no, thank you. And the only...
No, thank you. No questions. I will not answer questions. It is my freedom of speech to not answer questions. You do not get to ask me questions. My freedom of speech, not yours.
I want everyone to get home on time today, which is not going to happen.
Yeah, a single question won't. Yeah, that'll slow everything down.
And the only thing
that'll slow everything down. Stop this. No one's gonna get the point of the speech if you ask a question, dude. Stop, please. Please stop. No one's gonna understand. I can't understand because you keep interrupting.
Wokeness has to offer in exchange is to brainwash bright young minds like you to believe that you are victims.
What do you mean? What do you mean? No, that's not what it says. That's not what you claim to be woke culture is. That's not. No one. You're not told to be a victim. No one tells you to be a victim.
Believe that you have no agency.
No. In fact, you have a lot of agency in leftism. In fact, woke culture, it's almost all about giving you agency, because you're about controlling your life and your expression. I'm not quite sure what he thinks agency is, but yeah, I don't think he knows what words mean.
To believe that what you must do to improve the world is to complain.
What have you been doing this entire fucking speech?
Is to protest. Is to throw soup on paintings.
Protest? You shouldn't protest? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you... Yes, clap, please. Just, God, clap so he stops.
And we on this side of the house are not on this side of the house because we do not wish to improve the world. We sit on this side of the house because we know that the way to improve the world is to work, is to create, it is to build.
Famously, the woke culture, on the side of leftism, which is about workers' rights, isn't about working or building anything. It's about complaining, not what he's doing. He's explaining.
And the problem with woke culture is that it's trained too many young minds like yours to forget about that.
Forget about what?
Thank you very much. About that. Thank you very much.
I think that clapping at the end was a bit put in there. So where do we leave off with this video? I guess being a comedian as a right winger is just complaining about woke culture. People don't necessarily understand how countries work. Just because you're from a poor country doesn't mean you know what you're talking about when you're talking about how you... I don't know. 24 million people. I think what we learned from this is people aren't that stupid. Because only 125,000 people liked this, and 2 million people saw this. So people aren't that stupid. They're not that stupid. But some of them are. And that's kind of a problem. So, you know, I guess that's where we're gonna leave it off for this video. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.